Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the beneficiaries of the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra via video conferencing today. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across the country to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the government by ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach all targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner, that is. Addressing the gathering, the Prime Minister noted the remarkable enthusiasm being witnessed by the Modi Ki Guarantee vehicle car in every village. Recalling his interaction with the beneficiaries a short while ago, the Prime Minister informed that more than 1.5 lakh beneficiaries have recorded their experiences during this incredible journey. He mentioned the benefits of a permanent house, tap water and toilets and free treatment and free ration, gas connection, electricity connection, bank account being opened for them. He also spoke about the crores of families in villages across the country who have received the benefits of some of these schemes of the government without having to visit any government office again and again. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, former diplomat, Dr. Viksit Bharat, President for Center for Digital Economy Policy Research, also joins us on the show. Mr. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, with us on the program as well. Last but not the least, Mr. Sandeep Chandra, political analyst, also joins us on the program. Mr. Chandra, I'll begin with you. I hope you can hear me, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Malhotra, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir, it's something that should make our hearts soar with pride that, the schemes that the government has taken this far into the nine-year rule of the Bharatiya Janata Party have actually, culminated in a shape and form through which the Bharatiya Janata Party has been able to see results in 3 assembly elections in the last week or so, and perhaps will also catapult itself to a larger and a greater victory when the Lok Sabha elections come around. It's the victory of the people, and in return the people will make sure that it's the victory of the Narendra Modi government, because these schemes have actually worked on ground.
Yes, Mr. Malhotra, you have actually nailed the whole issue by your, very pointed question. Fact of the matter is this, that Mr. Modi today is the most proactive Prime Minister the country has ever seen or will ever see. And he is one of the rarest of the rare politicians, and today he is transcended from being a politician to a world statesman number one, that he micromanages and he macromanages all the schemes. Today, under the Modi government, all his ministers report to the office on time. Everything is being monitored by the PMO, and all reports are sent so that there is no waste of time. He is to be lauded that he has cut all red tape, and today people of this country, especially our women folk, mothers, sisters, daughters, they have benefited from the scheme of bathrooms in every household in every village. Also, Mr. Modi, he promises and then he delivers. Whatever he promises, he delivers, and he delivers before time. He is the Prime Minister who takes not only the bull by the horns, but he overturns it. And today, he has put India, rightly so, India on the world map. Today, the value of the Indian passport has gone up 100 times since he's taken over, and all these schemes today are bearing fruit. Today we are a very resilient, we are a very healthy economy, we are a nation thanks to Mr. Modi's efforts of peace, progress and prosperity. All these schemes have gone percolated down to the lowest person, to the last man standing, and I must say that Mr. Modi today is also one of the most consequential and affirmative world leader probably the world has ever seen. And what he is doing for the country, all the collective tenures of Pandit Nehru plus Indira Gandhi plus Rajiv Gandhi, they couldn't do what Mr. Modi has done in 9 years. And I must say that the Bharatiya Janata Party today has reaped the benefits. Today, each and every person who votes, he not only votes for Bharatiya Janata Party, he votes for the man who is at the helm of the affairs of the country.
Well articulated, sir. Thank you for that. In fact, let me also rope in Gautam Mukherjee into this conversation. Gautam, thank you for being here once again. the Prime Minister has very recently been voted as, the most popular, the most effective leader in a poll which had almost all the prominent world leaders participate or in fact be featured. The Prime Minister has done it again. Do you think this hands-on approach is what has led to, the faith of the people being not only doubled, but, extrapolated in such a way that, you see the gains for the Bharatiya Janata Party time and again. You see the gains at a state level. You see the gains at a district level as well. And that is a ripple effect, which is, of course, something that can only be enforced from the top.
Going in towards the election because of the sweep in the Hindi belt, you can look at about 200 seats if all goes well. Then they need another 100 seats to achieve a majority once again. Now, this is a very rosy picture, but I think the penetration and the appreciation of the Modi government is in this very belt. It hasn't worked so well in opposition states, where many of his programs are just not implemented, or in the south, where many of the programs have been overshadowed by opposition propaganda and their so-called guarantees and freebies.
Sure.
So it isn't really a uniform picture that we are looking at. But having said that, it certainly puts Mr. Modi in the pole position domestically. As far as his international image goes, certainly we have not had this kind of profile ever before, partially because we were a poor country and now we are not a poor country, and we are going very rapidly towards third in the world. We are growing in the last quarter at 7.7%. Lot of the international rating agencies, the World Bank, the IMF, the various heads of state are saying so and are most appreciated. The problem really is that the other countries are not really growing at the same pace at this present moment. So we stick out all the more. China's not doing too well. So we are at a very fortunate fork in the road with a very fine Prime Minister leading us. But, it isn't completely without risk as we go into the 24 election.
Right. Dr. Bhattacharya, Gautam is in fact absolutely right. It's the last mile penetration, that has, reaped these kind of results at a multiple level for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Won't you concur, sir?
No, absolutely, yes. In fact, India would not be a rich, developed country with the open defecation happening. What this government has done is made sure that there is no open defecation, not by passing a law which bans it, but providing toilets to everybody. We would not be a developed country if we have, people cooking their food on wood. If 1.4 billion people grow and then they are cooking their food on wood, we will lose all our forests. So the cooking gas scheme was rolled out. Similarly, schemes for girls, schemes for women, schemes which actually brings up the way we live. So it's not just being rich. There are many countries out there which are rich, but they're not developed in that sense. If you look at the Swachh Bharat scheme, from a nation which took it in their stride that we can stay dirty, to a nation which now has woken up to say, yes, we'll be clean. So also, please do keep in mind that we may be a rich country, and in a few years' time, we'll be the third richest economy in the world, but we'll be a rich country of poor people. What this government is trying to do is make it a rich country of rich people. And it's these are great stepping stones that we're moving towards, which then ensures not only are we rich, but we're also developed, which is a different dimension from just being rich. So we have the right kind of cities, we have the right kind of schooling, the right kind of healthcare, and that's something which has been very, very revolutionary in the thought process, because before this, the idea was that, or the view was that, India won't change. India cannot change. This will not happen in India. But we have seen everything's been happening in India. We have moved towards having bullet trains where people were saying that that's a waste of money. Everything that was towards development was being called out as waste for money. And why are we developing when there are others who are, who are poor? Without knowing that unless we develop, the poor will never become rich. And therefore, the two are very, very interlinked. And it takes a huge amount of political willpower to say that I will put in money which is important for the country, rather than pander to the exigencies of democracy, which says that give freebies to the poor and then you will get elected. And the poor will become poorer because there's no such thing as freebies. At the end of the day, it's the poor who are providing the tax, which is then been distributed freely, and they will sink deeper into poverty. We have been able to break out of that very vicious cycle and have now been able to develop in a manner which is sustainable.
Ambassador Kapoor, Mr. Bhattacharya makes a very compelling point. We haven't, put out a law against defecation, but we have actually changed, that entire ecosystem which India was in fact ridiculed for, admonished for by the Western world for decades now. Do you think that it's these small changes and the attention to detail also that perhaps makes the last 10 years for India, perhaps the most exciting 10 years post-independence?
Thank you, Vineet. What I plan to discuss is firstly the 100,000 foot view, which is a global perspective, and then get down to answering this particular question with a 10,000 foot view. So overall, when I see it from the global perspective, sitting outside India and seeing the rural population of India being 897 million people, which is almost 879 million people, which is almost about 900 million people. Now, what does that represent to me? It represents a population base which is more than the continents, two biggest continents of the world, North America and South America put together, including all the Caribbean countries, or more than Africa put together, or more than Europe put together, or in a way, the entire Western world put together. That is the rural population only of India. If that is the rural population, and you are trying to focus on that, then it is very important to do what we have tried to do in the last so many years now, last few years particularly. Then I take the example of Indonesia. When we talk about Swachh Bharat, on one of my visits there, I saw a lot of the school children carrying brooms and mops and cleaning equipment on cycles and while they were walking on the streets on a Thursday morning. So I was told that every Thursday, all the school children all over Indonesia have to spend a couple of hours at least cleaning up the school, cleaning up the environs of the school, around the school, outside the school, or in any slum area. Now, what that has impacted, in what way has that impacted the country? When we both got our independence, we got it earlier than Indonesia. In 47, they got it around 54. Around that time, 54, we were both in the same stage of similar stages of development and similar stages of cleanliness or lack of cleanliness. Today, Indonesia, in most parts of the country, is shining absolutely clean, like the ideal Swachh Indonesia vision would be. Some parts in the public domain are as clean as your drawing room. So that is what they have achieved, because each child is now empowered to understand and to even rebuke the elders that do not litter. So that sort of campaign would also be useful in India, but on a global scale in the country. But coming down to the 10,000 foot view, yes, these schemes have been there for quite some time. Many of these schemes have been there for maybe even 30 years, 40 years, 20 years. But what has happened to the implementation of the schemes or the utilization of the funding available under the schemes has been very, very abysmal, very low yield rate, very low utilization rate. Now, from the IITs, I am from IIT Delhi. The IIT ecosystem is very actively involved in the transforming the rural population with a particular focus on the youth and the women. There are a large number of NGOs which are run by IITians or which have been created by IITians. And in USA, we have a very prominent one, which is called Wheels Global Foundation, which is by the IIT alumni and the IIT ecosystem in India, where Wheels stands for water, healthcare, education, energy, livelihoods, and sustainability. And we have been associated. There are Pan IIT Reach for India, for example, PARFI. Then there is, Pratham. There is Ekal. All these are run by very prominent IITians. And these organizations also work with very big organizations in India. WISH is another organization by IITians, which is for water primarily and healthcare. Then WIN Foundation, Wheels India, Niswat Foundation. The number is endless. There are other big organizations in India which we work with, for example, the Mission Samriddhi or Sarjan Foundation or IEEE, or even the ground level people in Gujarat or Himachal Pradesh, the government, the Niti Aayog, etc. So what we have seen is the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, for example, has tried a lot to activate and empower and enthuse the youth of India to get involved. And we also try to get the youth of the IITs and other universities actively involved. So how do we do that? We try to bring them to the rural areas so that they do some projects there, they do some business development schemes there, they see how to develop entrepreneurship there, how to train the villagers in different aspects, so that there is not only innovation and entrepreneurship but also sustainability. Now, those things are also very, very essential. So what the Western world views it as, or the other world views it as, is a very good template for the rest of the world, for rural development, for rural empowerment, for rural transformation. So for the government to focus upon, how do you now start increasing and improving the utilization of the schemes, the funding available under the schemes? There have been schemes like the Hak Darshak program, where volunteers go to the villagers, to the Gram Sabhas, to the Sarpanches, and try to explain to them how to activate that. But a global effort like the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, I think was very essential. And now that it has begun, it will impact it even more. And to have
you're absolutely right, sir. You're absolutely right. Let me also, in fact, rope in Mr. Chandra once again. Mr. Chandra, how does this also serve as a template, not only for administrators within our country, but at a global level, with the kind of population that India has to deal with and contend with, this is phenomenal. Sir, I can't hear you.
He's muted. He has to unmute.
Mr. Chandra, you're muted, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
So, you see, I wanted to tell you that I wanted to compliment you that you always ask very pertinent questions, and what you asked, is the most pertinent question. The thing to remember, Viniji, is this, that we have got demographic dividend. We have maybe the, largest populated country on the planet, but our population is fairly young as compared to China. So what has happened is this, that today, India has become the hottest investment destination. People are lining up from all over the world because of instability in regions around us. And here they have lined up because they know that Mr. Modi is business friendly, he's people friendly, but above all, he puts the country's interests first. And what has happened is this, that he has removed all bottlenecks, all red tapes, all obstacles. You come, you invest in India, and India prospers, you prosper. So the template is this, that we have a most proactive Prime Minister. He's not active, he's not reactive, he's proactive. And he thinks out of the box. Expanding the context, Viniji, I would like to say that out of the box thinking reflects in his picking up a career diplomat as a foreign minister. Today, Mr. Jaishankar has proved to be the best foreign minister the country has ever seen, like Mr. Modi is the best prime minister the country has ever seen. So what has happened is this, he has made India a magnet which attracts, investors from all over the world, whether it is Elon Musk, whether they are big car companies, whether it is manufacturer of microchips, because they know today to counter China, we are the insurance policy for the US and other countries. So everybody has realized, even Taiwan, Japan, etc., that if India is strong, then the democratic world is strong. If India is weak, the democratic world is weak. But I will not use the word weak, because today we have in Mr. Modi a combination of, Mahatma Gandhi as the father of the nation, and also the Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel. So he, imbibes both the qualities of both these leaders, and he has proved to be a visionary. And here I would like to say that I would like to appeal to the publishers of Time magazine. They have made Taylor Swift the person of the year, but they should have a special issue naming Mr. Modi as the leader of the century, because today India is on the world map, and Mr. Modi is like a diamond on the crown of Mother India. And I'm not, overstating this, because people will realize in decades to come what Mr. Modi has done. Today, what Mr. Modi has done, it is a cascading effect which will last for them, probably next 2 or 3 centuries. So the template is this, that, India today is on its way not only to become the 3rd largest economy, probably it will become the largest economy in years to come. And 2047 is the benchmark where I want this country to be the #1 country in the world, Vineet.
All right. Almost out of time. We'll take concluding thoughts from the rest of our guests, starting with Gautam.
Yes, well, everything is hunky-dory, but I do believe there is a ways to go. Mr. Modi is indeed a phenomenon at the right time, in the right place, and is a man of destiny as far as India is concerned. Having said that, there are a lot of people out there abroad who, on the one hand, praise India, on the other are a little worried about our independent streak. We are nationalists now under Modi. We back Russia when we want. We back America when we want. We back Israel when we want. And this kind of independent streak from India is not what they're used to. They like a biddable country. So one aspect of foreign policy with regard to India is to keep pulling us down by pointing out negatives, and in fact putting money and muscle behind the forces that are trying to pull us down. On the other hand, they want to go places. They want India to contain China, but at the same time, they don't want India to run away with the ball. So these are complexities that will have to be confronted in the years to come. As far as the opposition in India is concerned, and all the forces that have lined up with it, they are mortally afraid that one more term means further diminishment, further withering, and what will it mean in the long run for the opposition and their politics, which is revanchist. It looks back and not forward. It is casteist. It is communal. It's all the things that they often accuse the BJP of. And the BJP is actually a nationalist country that is putting a lot of effort into Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Viswas. So they don't know what to do, but they are therefore joining hands with every kind of Viksit Bharat and anti-India campaign that anybody is coming with. And this is a worry, and the only way to cure it is to further decimate them, which is something that the public of India can do. One is good administration, good leadership. The other is an acknowledgement and an appreciation of this from the people of India. And when these two coincide and become, sort of coalesce together, then there's very little that the enemies of India, inside and outside, can do.
All right.
Finished.
Mr. Bhattacharya, quickly, 30 seconds to Ambassador Kapoor and Mr. Bhattacharya. We've run out of time.
Sure. As I mentioned, Viksit Bharat's got multiple dimensions. It's not just getting rich. I mean, the other top 5 economies have not been able to put any vehicle on the moon, which India has been able to do. Also, under India's leadership, if you see in South Asia, there is no large conflict that has happened. Whereas, the Europe is burning with the Ukraine war, West Asia is burning with the Hamas-Israel war, and there are multiple other conflicts going on. But India has been able to put peace in this part of the world. And that showcases the fact that India is developing, bringing in leadership, not just for India, but for the rest of the world also.
All right. Ambassador Kapoor, 30 seconds, sir.
Thank you, Vineet. India is already one of the most important drivers of the global economy today. How will it continue to being the most important driver of the global economy on a sustainable basis is what we have to see. And in that, the rural population of India becoming economically developed, becoming a market for the rest of the world, becoming a template, an algorithm for the rest of the world, because the IIT ecosystem is also trying to use technology for development in a very significant manner. And the government is bringing in the human-centric approach. Now focusing on the youth and the women of India and making it sustainable and empowering them and using innovation and entrepreneurship is the way to go ahead in the future, and continue to develop in a way that it becomes the most important global economy in the next few decades. Thank you. Back to you, Vinny.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of this conversation.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.